Welcome back, everyone. I'm so glad you could join us for another deep dive.
It's great to be here.
Last time we were together, we really got into the nitty-gritty of the circular economy, all the theory and big ideas, but I know a lot of you were hungry for more.
Yeah, you wanted to know how to put it all into practice.
Exactly. So buckle up, because today we're taking those concepts out for a spin and seeing how they're playing out in the real world.
We're going to see how they're changing the way things are designed, made, used, and, well, everything in between.
Totally. From super clever designs to some seriously mind-blowing innovations in recycling. And the best part,
it's not just happening on some huge scale.
right. We're going to look at how these ideas are making a difference in, like, the stuff we use every day, even our homes.
Should we jump in?
Let's do it. Okay, let's start with something we interact with every single day, products. You know how most things are designed to be used for a bit and then just tossed? Well, sustainable design is like, nope, not anymore.
Yeah, it's about shifting our mindset from that linear take, make, dispose model to a circular one, where we keep resources in use for as long as possible.
Exactly. It's like, imagine building a Lego castle versus a sand castle.
Okay, I'm listening.
With Legos, you can take them apart and build something totally new. But with sand, once it's done, it's back to square one. You got to start all over.
That's a great way to put it.
And that really highlights the core principles of sustainable product design. Like, choosing durable materials that can be repaired, maybe even upgraded, instead of just replaced.
It's thinking about the long game. What happens at the very end of a product's life?
Oh, yeah. Can it be easily taken apart for recycling? Can parts be salvaged? It's like planning for a happy retirement, but for, like, your toaster.
And the cool thing is, this isn't just some theory.
No way. Tell me more.
There are companies out there actually putting these principles into practice. Have you heard of Mud Jeans?
Mud jeans?
They make jeans you can lease.
Wait, you can lease jeans?
And then return them for recycling when you're done.
Okay. That is officially blowing my mind.
I know, right? It challenges the whole idea of ownership. It keeps those materials in circulation. And there are other amazing companies out there doing similar things, like Fairphone.
Fairphone.
Yeah. They design these modular smartphones that are super easy to repair and upgrade.
So no more tossing out your entire phone just because the battery needs replacing. That's huge, especially with all those rare earth elements and precious metals that go into making electronics.
Exactly. Speaking of valuable materials, should we talk about some innovations in waste management and recycling?
Okay, now you're speaking my language. I'm all about finding hidden treasures. Let's dive into that.
We often think of waste as, well, just waste. But what if it was actually a treasure trove of valuable resources just waiting to be, tapped?
Oh, I like where you're going with this. So how are we rethinking waste?
Well, one area that's seeing some really incredible advancements is recycling technology. We're moving beyond just sorting paper and plastic. We're talking about recovering valuable materials from, like, electronics and even construction debris.
Whoa, that's amazing. I remember reading something about that. They call it urban mining. But how do they actually get those valuable bits and pieces out?
That's where the tech gets super cool. We're talking about robotic sorting systems powered by AI. They can identify and separate all sorts of things, different types of plastics, metals, even individual components from electronics.
Whoa, robots sifting through our junk.
Yeah.
What's next? Robots making compost tea.
Actually, you're not far off. Composting is another area where we're seeing a ton of innovation. Forget about those smelly backyard compost heaps. There are new high-tech composting systems that are super efficient, totally odorless, and they can even handle food waste that you wouldn't normally compost.
Wait, really? Like what?
Things like meat and dairy.
I thought those were like composting no-nos.
Traditionally, yeah. But these new systems use different methods, like bokashi composting or vermicomposting. They can break that stuff down, no problem.
Wow, that's amazing. So technology is making composting way more accessible for everyone.
Exactly.
Okay, what about e-waste? I know we talked about that earlier. There's got to be some cool stuff happening there too, right?
Absolutely. E-waste is like a gold mine, literally. It's got all these precious metals like gold, silver, and palladium, along with other valuable materials that we can recover and reuse.
So how do we get those goodies out? It seems like it'd be a total nightmare to take apart all those tiny components.
That's where ingenuity comes in. We're seeing big advancements in techniques like bioleaching and hydrometallurgy. They can extract those valuable metals from e-waste in a way that's way more environmentally friendly.
Bio what? I'm going to need you to break those down for me.
Okay, so bioleaching uses microorganisms to extract metals from ores and waste materials.
So, like, tiny little miners working at a microscopic level.
Exactly. And hydrometallurgy uses aqueous solutions to extract metals from ores and concentrates.
Ooh, no way.
It's a more sustainable alternative to those traditional methods that often involve really high temperatures and harsh chemicals.
So, like, giving those metals a spa treatment instead of blasting them in a furnace?
Pretty much.
That's amazing. So this isn't just happening in some lab, right?
Nope, not at all. These advancements are being scaled up and implemented by companies all around the world.
That's so awesome. So we're seeing these innovations in action, making a real difference in how we manage waste.
Exactly. And honestly, this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more happening in the world of sustainable waste management and recycling. We're really just starting to see what's possible.
Okay, I am officially on the edge of my seat. I need to see more of the circular economy in action. Show me what's happening out there in the real world.
All right, let's take a look at how these circular economy principles are being applied in different sectors. Everything from agriculture to manufacturing, even urban planning.
Okay, I'm ready. Hit me with some of those inspiring stories.
All right, let's start with agriculture. Imagine a world where food waste isn't wasted at all, but actually becomes a valuable resource for growing more food. That's the idea behind closed-loop systems in agriculture.
Now, that's a concept I can really dig into. Tell me more about these closed-loop systems. How do they work?
Well, one example is using food waste to create compost, which then goes back to enrich the soil and improve crop yields.
So it's like giving back to the earth what we take from it. I love that. Are there any other examples of circularity in agriculture?
Oh, absolutely. Another cool one is vertical farming. You've heard of that?
Vertical farming.
Yeah, where crops are grown indoors in these stack layers.
Oh, yeah. I think I've seen it in some sci-fi movies where they're growing food in skyscrapers and stuff.
It's not really sci-fi anymore.
Really?
Yeah, vertical farms are popping up in cities all over the world, providing fresh, locally grown produce with a way smaller environmental footprint than traditional agriculture.
Wow, so we're bringing the farm to the city.
Pretty much.
That's incredible. Okay, what about manufacturing? How is the circular economy being applied there?
Ooh, manufacturing is a prime example of where circularity can make a huge impact. Think about all the resources that go into making products, from raw materials, the energy, the packaging, everything. The circular economy aims to minimize waste and maximize that resource efficiency at every single stage of the process.
Got it. So it's like squeezing every last drop of value out of those resources, right? No more leaky buckets.
Exactly. And one way to do that is through this idea called industrial symbiosis.
Industrial symbiosis.
Yeah, where different industries actually collaborate to share resources and byproducts. Like the waste heat from one factory could be used to power another, or byproducts from one production process could become raw materials for a totally different one.
Whoa, that's ingenious. So we're turning what was once considered waste into valuable assets. I love that. Are there any real-world examples of industrial symbiosis happening right now?
Absolutely. One of the most well-known examples is the Kalundborg Eco-Industrial Park in Denmark.
Kalundborg.
Yeah, it's this network of companies that all share resources and byproducts. It creates this amazing closed-loop system that's been super successful in reducing waste and emissions.
Kalundborg, Denmark. Okay, I am adding that to my list of places to visit. Okay, last but not least, urban planning. How does the circular economy fit into our cities?
Well, urban planning is really critical when it comes to applying these principles because cities consume a massive amount of resources and they generate a lot of waste. The circular economy provides a way to make cities more sustainable and resilient.
So it's about rethinking how our cities function, everything from how we construct buildings to how we handle waste and transportation.
Exactly. And one of the coolest areas of innovation in urban planning is this concept of circular cities.
Circular city.
Yeah, they're designed with closed-loop systems for water, energy, and materials, all with the goal of minimizing waste and maximizing resource efficiency.
It's like taking those principles of sustainable product design and applying them to an entire city. That's incredible. Are there any cities that are actually doing this?
There are. Several cities around the world are leading the way in implementing these circular city strategies. Amsterdam is a great example.
Amsterdam, of course.
They've set these really ambitious goals to become a fully circular city by 2050, focusing on things like construction, mobility, and food systems.
That's awesome. I'm sensing a theme here. It seems like the circular economy is gaining some serious momentum globally. Are there any other global success stories you can share?
Oh, for sure. The circular economy is this global movement with amazing initiatives all over the world. China, for example, has implemented a national circular economy promotion law, which is a huge step towards a more sustainable economic model.
China, too. Wow, that's
Yeah.
huge. They're a major player on the world stage, so to see them so committed to circularity sends a strong signal to everyone else.
Absolutely. And even in Africa, we're seeing the rise of these innovative circular businesses like the Waste Transformers.
The Waste Transformer.
Yeah, it's a group in South Africa that's creating these decentralized waste management systems that turn organic waste into biogas and fertilizer.
Okay, the Waste Transformers sound like straight-up superheroes, turning trash into treasure, saving the planet one compost pile at a time. But what about things closer to home? What's happening in our own communities?
Oh, there's tons of cool stuff happening. Many communities are embracing the circular economy with things like community composting programs, repair cafes, even tool libraries.
That sounds fantastic. It's so inspiring to see people taking action in their own communities. It shows that the circular economy isn't just some abstract idea, it's something we can all be a part of.
Exactly. That's one of the most encouraging parts of this whole movement. It's happening at every level, from global policies to local initiatives, and it's all driven by this shared vision of a more sustainable future.
This has been such an eye-opening deep dive so far. I'm honestly blown away by all the amazing things happening around the world. But I have to admit, it can feel a little overwhelming. Where do we even begin to make a difference in our own lives?
That's such a great question. It's easy to get caught up in the big picture and feel like our individual actions don't really matter. But the truth is, every single choice we make, every action we take, can contribute to a more sustainable future.
So you're saying we don't have to become zero-waste superheroes overnight? We can start small and build from there.
Exactly. Even simple things like cutting back on what we buy, repairing things instead of just throwing them out, composting our food scraps, and supporting those businesses that are really committed to sustainability, those things all make a difference.
Okay, that feels way more manageable. It's all about those little steps and making sustainable choices part of our daily routine.
Exactly. And remember, it's not about being perfect, it's about progress. Every step we take, no matter how small, is moving us closer to that more sustainable future.
Well said. I'm feeling super inspired and empowered to make a difference. But I'm curious, what are some of the key takeaways you hope our listeners will walk away with today?
I hope they come away with a sense of optimism and possibility. The circular economy isn't just some pipe dream. It's happening all around us. And it's creating a more sustainable, resilient, and equitable future for everyone.
I couldn't agree more. It's been so great exploring the practical side of sustainability with you. I'm feeling energized and ready to take action.
I'm so glad to hear that. And remember, the journey towards sustainability is an ongoing one. So let's keep learning, keep innovating, and keep working together to create a world where circularity is the norm. It really is. And, it's not just about the big picture stuff. No, it's also about those everyday choices we make.
You mean like choosing a reusable water bottle?
Exactly. Or buying a product made from recycled materials. These little things can actually be part of that bigger shift towards sustainability.
It's like we have the power to make a difference with every choice we make.
Absolutely. Every choice we make as consumers sends a message to businesses.
It's like we're voting with our wallets.
Right. And speaking of choices, I've been thinking about that question I asked earlier. The one about designing a product or service, or even a policy with circularity in mind.
Ooh, yeah. Little thought experiment. Have any ideas been swirling around in that brain of yours?
I'm curious to hear what you came up with.
Well, honestly, I've been super intrigued by those modular electronics we talked about before, like that Fairphone.
Yeah, those are cool.
It'd be amazing to apply that same concept to, like, everyday appliances.
What do you mean?
Like washing machines or refrigerators.
Interesting.
Imagine being able to easily repair or upgrade your appliances instead of having to replace the whole thing when one little part breaks.
That would be a game changer. It would save people so much money.
Right. Not to mention all the waste it would reduce.
And it would keep all those valuable materials in use. I love that idea.
And maybe there could even be like a service where you could swap out different modules to customize your appliances, depending on your needs at the time.
Ooh, tell me more.
Like, a smaller washing machine drum for when you're only doing a small load of laundry. Or maybe your fridge could have a special compartment for, like, fermenting kimchi.
That's brilliant. So much flexibility.
Right. It just seems like it aligns so perfectly with those circular economy principles.
And totally does.
It's funny because when we first started talking about the circular economy, it felt kind of, abstract.
Yeah, it can be a little hard to grasp at first.
But now that we're seeing how these ideas are actually being put into practice, it feels so much more tangible and hopeful.
I agree. It's truly inspiring to see the creativity that's going into building a more sustainable future. It's happening everywhere.
This deep dive has been such an incredible journey. I feel so energized and excited about the possibilities. But before we wrap things up, is there anything else you'd like to leave our listeners with? Any parting words of wisdom?
Well, I think it's important to remember that this transition to a circular economy, it's a journey,
It's not a sprint.
Exactly. There will be bumps along the way, and we're not always going to get everything perfect right away. The key is to keep learning, keep trying new things, and to keep working together.
It's all about progress over perfection.
You got it. And remember, we're all in this together. Every choice we make, every action we take can contribute to that more sustainable future. So let's keep at it, stay curious, and never stop exploring those possibilities.
Beautifully said. It's been such a pleasure diving deep into these topics with you. Thank you so much for sharing your insights.
The pleasure was all mine. And to our listener, thank you for coming along with us on this journey. We hope you found it as inspiring and empowering as we have.
And remember, the conversation doesn't end here. Keep exploring these ideas, share what you've learned, and join us again soon for more deep dives into the world of sustainability. Until next time.
It's amazing to think about how far this movement has come. It's not just a fringe idea anymore.
It really feels like the circular economy is going mainstream. But, there are still so many people who are just hearing about it for the first time. What do you think is the biggest hurdle to overcome?
Well, I think one of the biggest challenges is just getting people to understand what the circular economy actually is,
Yeah. There's a lot of jargon and complex concepts can be hard to wrap your head around.
Exactly. It's not always the easiest thing to explain.
Right. Like, how would you describe it to someone who's never heard of it before?
That's a good question. I guess I'd say it's all about rethinking the way we design, make, and use things.
Okay, I'm listening.
It's about moving away from that old take, make, dispose model that we've been stuck in for so long and creating a system where resources are kept in use for as long as possible.
So instead of just throwing things away after we're done with them, we're finding ways to reuse, repair, remanufacture, and recycle.
Exactly. It's like closing the loop on the system.
Closing the loop, I like that. It's a nice, simple way to explain it. But even if people get the concept, I think there's still this perception that sustainable products are more expensive,
Yeah, that's definitely a common misconception, but honestly, it's not always true.
Really? Tell me more.
Well, think about it this way. When products are designed to last longer, to be repaired easily, or to be made from recycled materials, it actually saves money in the long run.
Because you're not constantly having to buy new stuff.
Exactly. And then there's the whole issue of waste, which costs money to manage and dispose of.
So the circular economy is actually good for the economy.
It can be. It has the potential to create new jobs and stimulate innovation.
Okay, so we've got the environmental benefits, the potential economic benefits. I mean, this all sounds pretty amazing.
It is pretty amazing. But I think it's important to acknowledge that there are still some challenges to overcome.
Like what?
Well, for starters, we need to make sure that these circular economy solutions are accessible and affordable for everyone. We can't just have these fancy high-tech solutions that only benefit the wealthy.
Right. Sustainability should be for everyone, not just a luxury for the few.
Exactly. And then there's the issue of infrastructure. We need to invest in the systems and processes that will support a more circular economy.
So things like better recycling facilities, more efficient transportation networks, and maybe even new policies and regulations that encourage circularity.
Exactly. It's a big undertaking, but I think it's one that's absolutely essential if we want to create a truly sustainable future.
Well said. I feel like we've covered so much ground today. Is there anything else you want to share with our listeners before we sign off? Any final thoughts or calls to action?
I guess I would just say don't be afraid to get involved. There are so many ways to contribute to the circular economy, both big and small.
I agree. So whether you're supporting a local business, volunteering at a recycling center, or even just making more conscious choices as a consumer, every little bit helps.
You got it. It's a collective effort, and we all have a role to play.
Absolutely. Well, this has been another fantastic deep dive. Thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing your knowledge and insights.
It's always a pleasure to chat with you. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. We hope you learned something new and are feeling inspired to embrace the circular economy.
And remember, the conversation doesn't end here. Keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep pushing for a more sustainable future. We'll see you next time for another deep dive.